What's up guys, it's Spiderwolf back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So today we're going to be going over Red Megumi. He's going to be coming out in the game later tonight. Before we get started though, I'd really appreciate it if you guys don't like, comment, subscribe. Would really help me out. Try to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But that being said, let's get right into this. So Red Megumi's coming out tonight, as well as this new recollection bit. At least I think it's new, but I feel like I've seen it before, but I don't really know. Also really quick, because I just remembered, we're also going to be getting this imaginary realm battle, because, you know, usually they do content and banners. Usually, right? Sometimes they don't, like, but usually not. Usually, I don't know if I said that sometimes. Anyways, you know, we're going to be getting this event here. It's going to give us some different resources, cubes. The main thing is that this should be giving a free multi for Megumi's banner, so everybody will have a shot of getting this Megumi for free. I'm going to do a couple rules for him. Hopefully, I can maybe get him, because I hear he's pretty good. And then we'll, you know, but of course we're gonna find out, you know, right now whether or not you really need him, or if he's more of like, would be kind of cool to have him, right? Because I've heard really good things about this Red Megumi, right? But we're kind of in like you know, so many great banners back to back to back to back. Like we had the, you know, because the anniversary we had like Yuji, Todo, Sukuna, Maito, Yuta before all that. So it's like, you know, we had a lot of crazy banners that have released. So you know, I'm assuming some of you guys know. I mean, fuck, I had like 80,000 cubes before this like whole anniversary stuff happened, and then I'm down to like 6k with having to spend a little bit too. So yeah, yeah, I wouldn't blame you guys if you guys don't have too many cubes. Well, who knows? Maybe some of you guys got really lucky, and you guys got all the characters like super duper early, so you still have a lot of cubes saved up. So let's take a breakdown as to what this Megumi does, as to why he's apparently so good, right? So he's a red type character. He will be added to a standard banner at a later date. Maybe actually no, not 6 months. Probably like closer to the end of this year is probably when we're gonna see this Megumi get added to the standard banner, most likely. He doesn't have any black flash. He has mixed physical and jutsu stats. Alrighty, so skill 1 here, Exorcist Slash. At level 1, you deal 34% melee physical damage to one enemy. If Rapid Escape state is applied, you ignore the enemy's melee attack counter. And then if Divine Dog Totality state is applied, you deal 65% range damage or range jutsu damage to the same enemy, and this attack will ignore the darkness. When both Rabbit Escape and Divine Dog Totality are up though, you will change it into Shikigami combo. Okay, pretty interesting. So he has 2 different states here. One thing that's pretty interesting too is like a lot of the characters as of late have had this like applies different states or different like statuses basically that will give you different versions of skills or different buffs, like we've seen with like Yuji, Todo, and Maito, right? Like they all have different states, so that's pretty cool. And then at level 10 it's just gonna do 50% melee physical damage and then 100 range jutsu damage. At level 8 it's going to be 46 and then 92, so nothing too crazy there. So the changed version at level 1, you're going to be dealing 34 melee physical damage and 65 range jutsu damage to one enemy. Physical damage will ignore counter and jutsu damage will ignore darkness. You delay an action for one turn one time at a 50% chance. At level 10 it's just going to deal more damage, so 50 and 100. And then level 8 it's going to be 46 and 92. So basically, you don't really need to level this up past level 8. You can totally leave it at level 8. Like there's genuinely no point, in my opinion, to waste materials to take it up to 10. Just take it up to level 8 because you're just getting damage out of this. Everything else is still the same, but as a level 1 skill, not too bad. The fact that it can go through counters is cool, specifically melee focused counters. And then the fact that you can still do damage through darkness, so that's also really cool too. So not too bad. And then the delay in action is also very nice. A 50% chance is quite good, so it's not too low, but you know, I'd say it's pretty good in that regard. Now skill 2 here, Continuous Exorcist Slashes. At level 1 it costs 20 cursed energy. You're going to be dealing 74 melee physical damage to one enemy for 3 hits. If Rapid Escape is applied, you ignore enemies' melee attack counter. Okay, so this is going to be the same thing no matter what, so all these are going to be doing the same thing seemingly so far. So if it's a Rapid Escape, you can go through counters that are specifically melee counters, and then if it's if you have the other one, yeah, if you have the Divine Dog one, then that one will have jutsu damage that goes through darkness pretty much. So yeah, so if you have, but I'm assuming you're only gonna have one of those first, and then you have to wait till like the second turn to have like the other one popped up, and then maybe like on the third turn you can have both, I'm assuming. But yeah. And then for damage, it's gonna be 65 range jutsu damage, which I think is the same numbers here, right? No, it's a little bit more. Okay, so I mean, which makes sense, of course, right? Because it's like a skill 2 here. But yeah, you'll do a 65 range jutsu damage to the same enemy. This one will ignore darkness just like it did before. And then you increase the selected enemy's physical and jujutsu stat damage received by 22.2% for 3 turns, only for red characters, of course. And then when you have both rabbit and divine dogs, then it'll change in the Shikigami combo, which will probably be something very similar. At level 10, it's going to be 150% melee damage, melee physical damage, and then if you have Rabbit Escape, that'll go through the melee counters, and then if you have the dogs, then it'll be 100% range jutsu damage, and then you'll be applying a 25% increased physical and jutsu damage received by red characters. And then at level 8, it's going to be 133 melee, and then 92 range jutsu, and then it's going to be 24.4 increased damage received from physical and jutsu damage by red characters. So not too bad. A decent skill to level up to level 10, but level 8 is probably fine enough. The change version though, so when you have the Shikigami combo, at level 1 you're going to be dealing 74 melee physical damage and 65 range jutsu damage to one enemy. That will of course ignore counter, melee counters, and jutsu, and darkness. And then you apply the physical and jutsu damage received, but this time it's going to be by 34.7% for 3 turns, of course only for red characters. At level 10 it's going to be 150% melee physical, 100% range jutsu damage, and then it's going to be 50% physical and jutsu damage received by red characters to enemies. So that's really good. So that's a really good buff right there. 50% is quite good, right? Of course, you know, with Mahito, right? Like Mahito kind of already does something very similar to this. So, I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, kind of already have, like, if you pull from Mahito, right? Like, maybe you don't even need a Megumi, low-key, because, like, at least last time I double-checked, we'll go through the rest of the kit, but, like, but I'll have to take a look back at Megumi, not Megumi, Mahito, because I'm pretty sure he's, like, here he does this, but I'm pretty sure, so, we'll have to take a look. And then in level 8, it's going to be 133, 92 jutsu, or 133 melee physical, and then 92 range jutsu, and then 46.6 physical and jujutsu damage received from red attack characters, or red characters basically. But that's still pretty good regardless. I guess one thing that could be kind of bad though is that there are some fights where it's like the enemy, like if you're doing tower, right, there are some enemies where it's like you don't want to do jujutsu, or like they'll take less damage from like one or the other. But I guess the nice thing about this Megumi is that you can still do both, but in some scenarios it might be kind of bad because it's like, oh, if you do a melee physical attack, then I'll counter you or something, right? So that could be kind of bad in that case. But let's go, you know, keep continuing on here. So skill 3, Rapid Escape at level 1, you it takes 25 curse energy, so you summon Rapid Escape, HP 23.5% of character's max HP. Okay, yeah, because it summons the actual, okay, so you actually summons like something, okay. And then 50% of damage dealt will go to Rapid Escape. This appears when HP reaches 0. You apply attack notification, Rapid Escape to self for 2 turns 1 time. Okay, that's really good. Remove the Rapid Escape is disappeared during the effect applied. Applies disruption special to all enemies 2 turns 3 times at a 45% chance. That's quite good. And then increases all enemies physical and jutsu damage received by 27.3% for 3 turns only for red characters. That attack notification is really, really good because there are scenarios where you do have to, where there's like a gimmick like that, where if you do like a melee physical attack and you get hit because maybe they have a counter, this will basically negate it, right? As long as you have the Rapid Escape popped up, right? So that's pretty cool. At level 10, it's going to take 40% of your character's max HP, and then 50%, the 50% damage is still the same. And then you're not going to be giving all enemies physical and jutsu damage received by 30% for 3 turns, so not as high as the changed version as skill 2, but it's still pretty good, right? Because you still have to build up to that, because you need the Rapid Escape and the dogs, so that's still quite good. And then at level 8, it's going to be 36.3% of your max HP for the summons, and then it's going to be a 29% increase physical and jutsu damage received to all enemies for 3 turns, which is still pretty good. And then the chance of disruption is still the same, but that's still pretty good, especially for it being 2 turns 3 times if you are able to, like, you know, apply it, right? So that's still good, and 45% is still quite high, so you have a pretty good chance of doing that. It does have a 3-turn cooldown though, so you're not able to spam this, so keep that in mind. So basically when you do, you know, pop it up, you have to wait 3 turns to resummon the rabbit and redo the rabbit escape again. So, you know, you have to be a little bit careful, right? I mean, the one thing that's kind of like, I guess, nice is that it's almost up the tech nullification almost for the 3 turns. It does say 2 turns, but at the same time it is also 1 time, so that is also a bit of a negative there in that case. So if your Megumi doesn't get hit, you only have 1 turn when you won't have this, but if you do get hit, of course, they don't go away and you have to wait the 3 turns to reapply this again. And I'm assuming maybe the summons would get healed or would resummon, right, and then get back to full HP. Or maybe not, I'm not too sure. It didn't really say. Lastly here, for the ultimate, we also for this really quick, if you I think you can leave this one at level 8. I don't think you need to push this one to level 10. You do get 4% more HP, and you do get like an additional 0.6% for the increased physical and jutsu damage received, but I think leaving this one at level 8 is probably good enough. I think skill 2 is more valuable at the moment for leveling up to 10. And then, but you know, we'll take a look at the ultimate, because usually the ultimates are the one you want to go for first, and then you go for the skills, right? Unless it's a support character, then maybe you want to go for their supports. But then again, sometimes the ultimates are still really good, even, you know, even though they're supports, right, for like the ultimate and all that. Anyways, here for the ultimate, continuous Shikigami summon at level 1. You're gonna increase the selected enemy's jutsu damage received by 34.7% for 1 turn 1 time. So really good if you're gonna ult that turn, or maybe if you want to save it, but it's better to probably, you know, combo that as like an ultimate, right, with another DPS. Only for red characters, which makes sense. You remove both Rabbit Escape and Divine Dog Totality State, and then you deal 563.7% range jutsu damage to 1 enemy. This attack will ignore darkness, and then you increase the selected enemy's physical and jutsu damage received by 65.7% for 3 turns, only for red characters, so that's really strong. Okay. I mean, is that saying you get both though? I think this is saying you get both, no? Because you increase the second enemy's jutsu damage. Oh, okay, no. Well, okay, this is a little bit different, right? So this is saying you increase the second enemy's jutsu damage received by 34.7% for 1 turn 1 time, and then you remove both states, right? But then you're also going to be dealing 563 range jujutsu damage to 1 enemy, and then you're going to reapply a new version, but it's going to be a better version of increasing enemies physical and jutsu damage received by 65.7% for 3 turns. So basically he's giving himself like a bit of a damage buff here because he's applying his debuff. Of course, if the enemy can't take debuffs, then this is kind of useless, but if they are able to take debuffs, he's basically giving himself an attack boost with this, or damage boost, I mean. And then he'll be basically giving a better, bigger one that's longer for everybody else, right? So that's pretty cool. And then at level 10, it's going to be 50% jutsu damage received for 1 turn 1 time. And then the second part's going to be you deal 1,000 range jutsu damage to 1 enemy, which is quite good. And you're going to be increasing their physical and jujutsu damage received by 100% for 3 turns, which is quite insanity. Like, that is actually insane. That's like probably one of the biggest multipliers off rip, right? Like just in one thing, like off rip, not having to build it up or anything, but you just get, right, which is quite crazy. At level 8 though, it's going to be 46.6, or I guess I should take a look at level 7, right, because sometimes some skills are level 7, so we'll do 7 and 8. At level 7, it's going to be 44.9%, almost 50%, oh, actually no, it's 100, almost 45% is what I meant to say. Jutsu damage received, or increased jutsu damage received only for red characters, and then it's going to be an 88.6% for physical and jutsu damage received for 3 turns. At level 8, it's going to be 46.6%, and 92.4%, so 4% increase for the bigger boost for everybody, or for the one that lasts longer, I mean. And then the one for Megumi himself is only going to be like a 2, almost 3% increase right there. Very, very good. Definitely something you want to take to level 10 for sure first before you do. So yeah, I think the way you go about it for skills, you for sure would go for ultimate, max it out, and then you would go to level 10 for the skill 2 because you get 50% here when you have both the dogs and the bunnies active. And then the skill 1 you can just leave it at level 8 or not level it up. It's up to you. I mean, you know, it's not really that worth it. Or like in terms of like taking it to level 10 because it's just more damage and that's it. And then skill 3, this one also is just a level 8. I don't think it's really worth it to take it to level 10 unless you really like this Megumi, but I wouldn't recommend that unless you just like, you know, buying materials or wasting them. But I don't know, that's just my personal recommendation because like I'm in a situation right now where I don't have that many skill level materials and I'm like, yeah, you know, gotta be a little bit more careful about what you upgrade, right? Alright, and then he has a combat ultimate here. So his regular one is going to be dealing 182 ranged Jujutsu damage to one enemy. You increase your own and the allies damage dealt by 30% for 3 turns. That's actually very good. So right, you want to pair him up with the DPS character, and you feel everybody else's ultimate KH by 110, except himself and the combo ally. And then the potential one, so when you get the potential upgrade from the hidden potential, you're now going to be giving a 40% ally damage boost, and you're going to be increasing his and the allies Jujutsu stat by 30% for 3 turns. Very good combo buff right there. So honestly, it might be worth taking up the hidden potential up to, you know, unlocking it stage 2 here, just because you do get an extra 10% damage though, and you get a 30% Jujutsu damage buff, which could be good on some red characters, but at the same time, there isn't that many good red, specifically Jujutsu characters that are DPS, because most of them are literally just like Taijutsu physical focus. So, you know, not really that many options at the moment for this. I mean, we're gonna get one coming up soon that can use this, but like the current best ones aren't really Jujutsu focused, so that kind of sucks. But this will be good in the future later for any other character, so you could hold off on upgrading this if you really wanted to. Now he does have an auto skill here. So Divine Dog's Totality, if own curse energy is 30 or more, and Divine Dog Totality is not applied at the start of turn, you will summon the Divine Dogs, and then they will disappear if you receive damage equal to characters 50% of HP. So these dogs will have less HP than the rabbits, but they'll spawn automatically if you have 30 or more curse energy. So you want to make sure you have a character or a recollection that can like give this Megumi a ton of like curse energy, or get him like, you know, recharge it pretty quickly. So that's how the dogs come into play basically, because I was wondering like, damn, where are the dogs at, because there's nothing here, because I was assuming maybe skill 3 would have it, but it doesn't. So yeah, I mean, overall this Megumi is very strong. Like, he's very good support here. I definitely think he's a great character to have on your team. But I want to quickly take a look at Mahito, because I'm pretty sure he does like the same thing, but he's better. Oh, you know, in other regards, right? Let me see, because I kind of forget, because he has the crit resistance thing. Increases all enemies damage received, or all enemies, yeah, damage taken by red enemies. Same thing. And then break, increase enemies damage received to red attacks. Yeah, because his is up to 50% for a lot of these basically, because they'll almost do the same thing for the most part. And he also has the crit resistance down as well. For his ultimate, damage, also increasing enemies damage received. So like, that's the same, no, basically? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same, kind of, because this is saying specifically you're increasing the enemy's damage received to red damage, or damage received by, you know, from red characters. And then Megumi is doing the same thing, but instead of specifically saying physical and Jujutsu damage received, right? So I don't know if that's going to be like a different debuff applied if you pair them up on the same team, or if this is more of like, it's still the same debuff, right? I'm assuming they're two separate debuffs, right? Because this is like overall damage by red characters, damage received, and then this is specifically physical and Jujutsu damage received, but it's only going to be for red characters, right? So I'm assuming you can maybe double up on that, but at the same time, if you do have red Mahito, he kind of does the same thing, if not better. I mean, he does it basically better. So if you do have red Mahito and you are low on summons, I think you could probably skip out on this Megumi. This is still really good though, because he does apply the 100% and all that, but like Mahito can apply a lot more, a lot quicker. So, you know, even though this Megumi is quite good, I think he's a really great character. Skill 1's kind of okay, well, it's not ass, but like, because the delay is quite good, 50% chance, but like other than that, it's kind of whatever. Granted, that's only if you have the both summons active. Otherwise, it's kind of, yeah. Actually, yeah, skill 1's kind of whatever until you have both summons active. So I mean, like, Megumi's good, but like if you have Red Mahito and you are low on summons, I think you can probably skip out on this guy. If you want, you could probably do like a couple summons, but I don't think like you really need to go out of your way for this guy if you do have Red Mahito, because Red Mahito basically does the same thing but better. But he would be this is like a nice character. If you can get him, it would be nice to have him, and he might even be necessary in some tower floors because of what he does. Though to be fair, it's kind of the same thing as Mahito, so I don't know. But he does do other stuff, right? Like he does apply he has a chance of applying like delay. He also has a chance of what else? He can also, you know, go through darkness, go through melee counters, which could be pretty useful. He can also apply disruption at a 45% chance, so that can be pretty good as well. So this Mahito does have, I mean not Mahito, this Megumi does definitely have his own like uniqueness to him, at least, where he does apply like other things that can be quite useful. But yeah, overall, like, not a bad character. I can definitely see why he is considered like a really good character, and maybe one you want to go for. But I would say if you are very low on summons and you already have Mahito, you could probably skip on him, because remember guys, we're going to be getting Gojo sort of soon, and he is a limited character. So if you do want that new upcoming Blue Gojo, maybe you don't want to spend too much here, or maybe you want to skip him. Also, we did get leaks. I will cover that towards the end of the video, but let's continue on. So, of course, in the support tier list, the tier list, he's considered a triple S support. I feel like with a Red Mahito, when he comes out, I feel like, oh no. I was gonna say maybe move Megumi down, but no. I think Megumi is definitely still fine being triple S tier. Just Mahito is maybe like a tier above a bit because he does more stuff. But yeah, that definitely like really good character, right? Really, really good. Also, we're gonna be getting a recollection bit with his banner called Student's Duty. So it is physical focused, and basically whenever you do anything, a skill or ultimate, you recover your own HP by 20%, and you increase your own damage by 50% for one turn at a 6-turn cooldown for red characters. If you have one dupe, at the start of the battle, you recover your own curse energy by 15, so that's not too bad. And then max dupes, or 3 dupes specifically, you're gonna be recovering your own HP by 25%, and you're gonna increase your own damage by 55% for one turn. I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. Not on the higher end of things, but like the healing is kind of cool, and it's a 6-turn cooldown, so it's not half bad. So definitely viable. It is considered what is it? S tier, which I think that's fair. I think it's definitely fair to say this is like an S tier color type recollection bit. Like, it's not like a big boost, but it's like a decent boost. But the fact that you recover your curse energy at the start of battle is kind of cool, and then you also heal yourself, which is quite nice as well, at a 6-turn cooldown, so it's actually reasonable. So I'd say overall this is not a bad one if you do pull it, but not one that you're going to be using like on your main DPS character, right? This is more of like maybe like a sub DPS character to support, like Megumi, so that could be good with him. But you can also put another recollection bit that gives him more curse energy like every turn, so there is also that, keep in mind. And yeah, now let's talk about leaks a little bit. So there's apparently some leaks going around that we should be getting Jogo, I think next week. Basically, Jogo should be coming out within the next week or two, and also Kusekabe. Let me see if I can find the post real quick. Alrighty, so yeah, I found the post really quick, so I'm gonna just show it in 3, 2, 1. So here's the post. So yeah, what is it, on the 23rd, so next week we should be getting, or not should be, it looks like we should be getting Red Jogo, which this Megumi can work pretty well with him because he's also red and he's Jujutsu focused with the whole, you know, combo of ultimate there. And then on February 6th, so in 3 weeks, we should be getting Kusekabe, which is a really good yellow support character. So we should be getting all of this content here, or anything that we missed. So Jogo, his events, and maybe anything else here that we missed. But it's probably just going to be Jogo and his event. That should be happening in a couple, not a couple days, in what is it, a week? Yeah, in a week. So next week we should be getting Jogo, and then in the 2 weeks after that it should be Kusakabe in his event, and then it looks like the 0.2 Blue Gojo won't be coming out for a little while for global. It looks like we'll have to wait a little bit longer. He may be coming out. He might not even come out for February. Like I said, these are leaks, so we don't know for sure. It could be he could be coming out, could not be coming out. So the way things are looking, maybe Blue 0.2 Gojo for end of February, or might even be like the month after, right? So he might be coming out in March. Which, I mean, if he does come out later, it is a good thing for us, because that means you can keeps the save up, because we had so many really good banners back to back to back to back. So would be good to at least save up a little bit of cubes for that, even if it might not be a lot. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. I mean, heck, Kusakabe is a really good character for yellow, so if you need another really good yellow support character, maybe you want to save for him. Jogo you can skip, you don't really need him. Because if you pull Maito, you got, you know, really good DPS, sub DPS, can also be main DPS. Red Yuji, really good red DPS character, so you don't really need to go out of your way for Jogo. But yeah, I'd say overall, if you should summon, I don't think it'd be a bad idea if you want to do a little bit, if you do have a lot of cubes saved up. But if you don't really have a lot, maybe only do one just to get like 10 pity tickets out of it. Otherwise, probably better to just save and hold off on summoning him. Or you could just wait till his banner leaves, because his banner does go up until February 2nd, so you could wait till we get closer to like when he leaves, and then decide by then, you know, because by then we'll have a better idea of who's coming out, most likely. So by then you can be like, okay, maybe I don't have cubes saved up, or maybe like there's nothing I want like coming up, so I'll double a couple cubes for him, and then, you know, be good to go, right? Also, I think there might also be, yeah, so supposedly also on like the second week of February, we might also have Shoko and Yaga rerun banner. So if we go to the timeline here really quickly, I think they were included in here. Yeah, so this little event thing here with Jogo and then yellow pickup banner. So if you guys are missing out on yellow Yaga and Shoko, yeah, specifically yellow Shoko, you might, you know, she might be coming out relatively soon. So if you want her and or Yaga, this is another good chance to try and pick them up, because, you know, Shoko's like really good for the yellow team, not gonna lie. Like, I kind of wish I have her. So something else to keep in mind, you know, kind of, you know, rearrange, you know, just look at your account. It depends, right, for all of you guys. You know, maybe some of you guys are able to pull, maybe for some of you guys he's a skip, because maybe you guys want rather have yellow Shoko and Kusakabe coming up or whatever else, right? But yeah, just letting you guys know about all of that. Anyways, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that being said, I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace and take care, everybody. Also, good luck with you guys summons.